interesting to see the judge and the staff questioning the Roanoke Gas executives and how they had not done their homework, how they had not looked at other alternatives. And the staff made it very clear in their presentation that they should not pass along any infrastructure from the Mountain Valley Pipeline onto their customers.
Wow.
So we're not going to know the results of that hearing from the commissioners until next spring or summer at the earliest, but we do know that the staff was hanging, was very articulate, very well researched, and their assessment that none of the Mountain Valley Pipeline infrastructure should be passed on to customers.
I really appreciate hearing that from you, and I'll point out that the SCC turned down a request from Amazon to put solar panels on because those were going to put a disproportionate cost on residential customers in some way. I can't remember the exact way that works, but the reason I bring it up is they are not afraid to take on a large corporation in favor of their ratepayers because they actually see their job having some relationship to being a public utility versus being a private piggy bank, okay? And in the case of Roanoke Gas. So that's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
The other thing that was in Lawrence's article about that hearing that I would mention is a lot of us filed letters to the SCC, and the counsel for the SCC asked the Roanoke Gas customer service vice president whether he had read the letters that had been filed to the State Corporation Commission by the customers of Roanoke Gas. And you know what his answer was?
No.
No, he hadn't read them. I thought that's what customer service was supposed to be about.
In Lawrence's article, he was saying that Roanoke Gas had gone to the two gas companies to see if they had extra
Right.
capacity. However, the comeback was when they brought the person from Drilling Info up to testify, she said, well, they asked for year-round capacity. They didn't ask if they had capacity other times, and she's like, based on that, there's several different steps they should have taken afterwards that they did not take.
Huh.
So, I mean, they are on it, and rightly so.
I'm going
Rightly
to tell
so.
you what happened the first time the first time the Mountain Valley Pipeline came here in October of 2014, and I don't know how many of you went to the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors meeting, which went very badly, and the supervisors voted a few weeks later to oppose the project. The next morning, they came to the Public Policy Committee of the Roanoke Chamber of Commerce, of which I was a member, and they did the same horrible presentation. It was really awful, and they left. And everybody in the room kind of said, oh, you know, I know that guy who did that. He works here, but that wasn't his best work, you know. And people didn't like it. But the most interesting comment was Joe D'Orazio, who's at that time was president of Roanoke Gas. And he's a good guy, okay? He's not I like him. We're both Air Force brats. He said, well, we don't need it. We already have two sources. October 2014. Next spring, they're signing an agreement. Okay, next spring, the Roanoke Chamber is endorsing it. I think what happened was MVP really got hammered for not having any local connections. And they probably came to Roanoke Gas and said, hey, the other thing, remember this, in December of 2014, when the study came out, they already knew they were gonna try and connect here. When they did, MVP did their economic study, and they stated that one of the great benefits here was that this gas was gonna be so cheap that all these fleets here that were using regular gas would switch to natural gas.
Yeah.
And we now know from some of the other filings, Lawrence has them if you haven't seen them, I think they want to charge us, is it 4 times as much as we used to pay for residential? It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot. I was going to say one of the other things that came out in the hearing was Thomas Hadwin was there, and he brought up the date of June 1st, 2020. That's the opportunity where the contracts of the people who have signed on to get the capacity, the gas off the pipeline, can walk away scot-free. Roanoke Gas right now's contract is for $100 million over 20 years. That's $5 million a year that they're on the hook for. The Roanoke Gas side, not the one that owns the pipeline side.
Right.
Wow.
So hopefully they will have gotten the message and June 1st that they'll walk away, because I don't know what Roanoke Gas is gonna do with a $5 million obligation of paying that. Because they have that, whether anybody uses that gas or not, they would be obligated to pay that money.
So this question about the money is very important.
It's fine.
This project was supposed to be finished at the end of 2018. It was supposed to cost between $3 and $3.4 billion. It now is costing $4.8 to $5 billion. In best case, it's finished in the middle of 2020, after that June date.
And that's before they thought they'd be boring under streams, and that costs a lot more to do.
So, yeah.
And that's why I was named to represent Roanoke Valley should be on that list, because Ann and I have been part of this movement from the get-go. And one of the things we realized early on, it's the big money underneath all of this.
Absolutely.
And it's what led us to be leaders for Represent
Thank
Roanoke
you.
Valley.
Yeah.
And we make that fundamental connection all the time.
Okay.
And, because it's an unfortunate example in our community of what big money does to people.
Absolutely. Thank you
But
so
anyway,
much.
yeah, yeah,
Appreciate you
yeah.
bringing that up.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'd just like to say that they seem to be operating off of different rules than for local builders who have to really follow the environmental laws. I mean,
Yeah.
they just get exceptions for everything. It's
The
a
whole project
lawless
is a
endeavor.
variance. The whole project is now a variance, so, yeah. I know everybody is here to hear about the log purge. Any questions from the media about what we had to say? Really appreciate everybody coming, and
Thank you.
Thank you, it was
thank
excellent.
Freeda and Cynthia for organizing.